I was never an exceptional surfer, but I idolized one. I grew up in that era where everyone looked up to certain surfers, and I idolized Mickey Dora. Not that Mickey Dora was part of my generation. He was just the generation ahead of me, maybe 10, 15 years my senior. I knew he was a criminal. I knew he was always in trouble. I knew he was just doing insane stuff, but something about it, the draw, just his good looks, his incredible gift on a surfboard drew me to want to be like him. Not like a criminal, not like all those other things, but just somehow, if I could ever be like Mickey Dora. Now, Jerry Lopez came along and he made the transition into shortboards, and all the other shortboarders, Sean Thompson, who was just insane. I loved Sean Thompson, but Mickey Dora. Then today there was an article in the New York Times. It was on racism and surfing. It was on surf Nazis, which I've always known was there, but it outlined the racism of Mickey Dora. I mean, graphic, brutal racism towards the black community, which I had never known about. And it really hit me. I don't know why. I've known lots of racists, and racists that I've had to learn how to tolerate their language, tolerate who they are. Even people that I've had to separate myself from completely just because of their racism. But I thought to myself, what do you do when someone who was one of your, what would you do if suddenly you found out Mickey Mantle was a racist? Or what would you do if you found out suddenly that, Sandy Koufax was a racist? What would you do? It's hard to somehow come to grips with one of your childhood heroes being bad, really bad, in so many ways bad. Not just a rebel, but a racist. And I thought it would be a good time to talk about what we do when those things divide us, because our nation, as we come into this impeachment process, we've been divided for the last few years. Maybe for a lot longer than the last few years. And now that division's coming up to the surface. And as some of this division comes up to the surface, just like a pimple that needs to be popped, I think it's important for us to know that when the pus is running freely, that we need to learn how to recognize ugly for ugly. Even in the people we admire, even in the people we love, we need to learn to recognize, hey, it doesn't matter who this person is that we admire. It doesn't matter how much we've idolized them. This is racist, and this is wrong. So for me, I realized, Mickey Dora, out of the picture for me. No longer in my book. No longer do I look up to him. No longer do I think about him in those ways. No different than for those people who really loved Michael Jackson, and then when they found out the truth about Michael Jackson, suddenly didn't even want to hear his music. For me, I don't even want to watch Mickey Dora surf anymore. I used to live in France when Mickey Dora lived in France, and I always thought to myself, man, maybe sometime we'll bump into him. Maybe sometime we'll get to surf together. Now I'm so glad I didn't. I'm so glad that stupidity, that ignorance, that hateful racism wasn't afflicted on me as a young person. But you see, there was a lot that was afflicted on me as a young person, not intentionally, but just by the very place I grew up, just by the way I grew up, just by the life that was given to me. And in the same way, there's a lot that you were given. In the same way, there's that which sets you apart from other people economically, culturally, financially, racially, that built a bubble around you that gave you a benefit that other people didn't have. Going forward, I think it's important for us to open ourselves up to see who it is we've been and who it is we were, and then to evaluate the folks that we come in contact with and really see if these are the kinds of people we want to surround ourselves with. Are they loving? Are they open? Are they just like a pimple, ready to spew pus all over us and to do all kinds of damage to our families, to the society around us, and to hurt us See, division doesn't have to be always disagreeable with each other. Division gives us the opportunity to tell people we understand that we disagree. And yet we love who you are for who you are. But there are those standards, the right thing standards, that everybody has to stand up for. Honesty, truth, against racism, against anti-Semitism, in favor of loving the poor, in favor of lifting up the little guy. These are things that all of us need to be for. Jesus called them the golden rule, to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You living by the golden rule today? Or are you allowing division to rip your heart and your life apart and making excuses for it? To be the miracle, we need to begin to live by that golden rule that says, I want to start to do unto others, socially, emotionally, and personally, just the way I'd like them to do unto me. I want to change the areas of my life that need to be changed. And if I need to bail out on some of the people that I've considered heroic in my life, I'm ready to set them apart and set them aside, because I want my family to be miraculous. I want you to be miraculous. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for hearing my heart today. Let's go forward together in unity, because at the core of who we are in love, unity is so important, even when we disagree with each other. God bless you. Have an absolutely fantastic day.